Alrighty, in this presentation we're going to talk about basically the ARP command. And the way we're going to utilize it is we're going to type in CMD to get to the command prompt, and we'll type in ARP. And if you remember, ARP is going to display or modify the IP to physical address that the system has stored. So again, it's going to have information about the IP address and the MAC address, but it's all local to that network. Now you notice that when I typed in ARP, I didn't get anything displayed besides the help file. The reason being is this. So if this is the first time that you are utilizing a command prompt, let me point out some of the common elements of these commands. First of all, if anything that is in these square brackets, that means that these are optional parameters. Now, the other thing is this. We have ARP-S, we have init address and Ethernet address. So if I want to utilize this set of commands, anything that's not inside the brackets, right, is required. The one command I want to utilize is basically ARP-A, which is going to display the current ARP entries that the system has stored. So we'll do ARP-A. You notice there are basically a couple entries that are allocated here that the system had found and it's utilizing here. Now another command that you need to be absolutely familiar with is ipconfig in Windows. So I do ipconfig, and let's look at the IP addresses real quick. So we have IPv4, we have 10.211.55.17 for my computer, and then a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Now, what class of IP address am I utilizing here? Well, it is not a class C, even though we are utilizing a subnet mask that is, pay attention, the default subnet mask for a class C. Am I utilizing a class C? Well, if we look at the IP address 10 is basically identifying that we are utilizing a class A. So the whole element of this and how the system is set up is that I am utilizing a class A to mimic, notice the word mimic, a class C. So my network address is going to be 10.211.55.0 is going to be my network address. Because the first three octets, right, are basically how a class C is going to work. But again, the system is utilizing a class A to mimic a class C. The other thing you notice that we also have a default gateway, and we have a default gateway of 55.1. And you notice that over here, the system had picked up the MAC address for that component of 55.1. And you notice that's a dynamic type, so that is the physical address. So you notice that, again, the ARP is displaying the IP address to the actual physical address or the MAC address of the device. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you is this. Let me go back to the ARP help. I want to basically now delete the entries that are displayed there. Now you're going to utilize the -D to delete everything, and I'm going to also utilize the star for the wildcard. So I'm going to do ARP-D to delete star. And then you notice that the entry had failed, or the command had failed, because the operation requires elevation. Now what that means is that the way we entered the command prompt does not have the appropriate permissions to do this particular command. Now pay attention, check this out. I'm going to type in CMD. I'm going to right click and say run as administrator, or I could also select this to run as administrator. Even though the account that I'm currently in does have administrative privileges, I just need to have this elevated. You notice that we're getting a prompt here, and if you have taken the CIS 230 or 231 classes, we talked about the user account control, UAC, and this is basically part of that Windows security feature that's acknowledging that you are elevating permissions. We'll click on yes. Now, one other thing I want to point out is you notice that the command prompt had changed. So we have /Windows/system32 versus /user and then the current user account that you're in. One thing I want to do here is also come to properties, and I want to make this just a little bit bigger so we're able to see the commands here. Now, again, I'm going to just type in ARP-A. So we have a couple entries here. Now we're going to type in ARP-D asterisk. Now it looks like nothing happened. Let's go back and do ARP-A. You notice that we have deleted, the system had deleted a couple of these particular entries in the system. And you also notice that it deleted basically the default gateway. All right, and that's basically what the command does. It displays the IP address to the physical address only on the local network.